Telling our stories is the connective tissue of the collective human experience. The Just Keep Talking podcast delves into the lives and stories of artists. What is the impact of mental health on creativity? What does it mean to be a creative individual? Someone who feels deeply, experiences joy and pain intensely, and navigates the challenges of life through the creative process. With each story shared, we explore the authentic experience of our basic need to be seen, to be heard, and to belong. We're really not so different from one another, nor are we alone. Together, we can inspire, encourage, and enlighten each other to find the true joy and fulfillment that is within ourselves. When we just keep talking, we create the space for gratitude, self-acceptance, and grace in everyday life. In a world filled with divisiveness, fostering inclusivity and connection is a powerful way to make a positive impact. The Just Keep Talking podcast with me, Brother Love, because your story matters. Hello, and welcome to the Just Keep Talking podcast with me, your host, Brother Love, because your story matters. My guest this week is Taylor Spreitler. Hello.
Hi.
PR and Community Engagement Coordinator for the Nashville Humane Association. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so very welcome. You were a guest on Community Corner, a show that I host on Lightning 100 here in Nashville, Tennessee. You can hear that episode at lightning100.com/community corner. We discussed your work at the Nashville Humane Society, something that is so important. We met because I brought my puppy Jazz, my wife and I brought Jazz to you to get, I believe it was shots and have a chip put in. And I thought, this is so cool. Would love to have you all on Community Corner because what you do is so important.
Thank you.
You know, you're so welcome. And I remembered thinking in the interview, you're such a very well-spoken person. You have such a wonderful voice. You're poised, you're controlled, you have intention. And as it turns out, you're an actor.
Yes, I am.
A celebrity.
Yes.
Former celebrity. Oh my gosh, let me Google all this. Taylor Spreitler is an American actress. She is best known for her roles as Mia McCormick in the soap opera series Days of Our Lives, 2009 and 2010. Correct me if Google is wrong on any of this, by the way. Lennox Scanlon, is that how you pronounce it?
Scanlon.
Lennox Scanlon in the sitcom Melissa and Joey, 2010 to 2015, and Kendra Gable in the sitcom Kevin Can Wait, 2016 to 2018. You've also done a bunch of other things. I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here.
The reason why I find you so fascinating on so many levels is because your journey is so interesting. How old are you, may I ask?
I am about to be 32.
About to be 32.
Yeah.
And you've had success, you've had a career change, you've had so much where a lot of this change and this sort of shift in life might happen a lot later for people or never at all. So tell me, where do you come from? What's your background a little bit?
I have lived a lot of different lives. I'm very fortunate to be able to do all the things that I've done, but I am from a very, very small town in South Mississippi, Wiggins, Mississippi. Shout out. I was actually scouted from a beauty pageant because South Mississippi, we were in beauty pageants as kids.
Wow.
Yeah. It was not as bad. It was not like toddlers and tiaras yet. It kind of grew into that after I left. But I was scouted. I went to New York. I started modeling and then doing commercials, but I had such a strong Southern accent that they could not use my voice. My first job was a Chuck E. Cheese commercial. And I remember thinking in that moment, I was maybe like 7 years old. And for a 7-year-old to have their first job and to get to play at Chuck E. Cheese all day, I was like, best job ever. Yeah. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And then it just kind of grew from there. My first big job after that, after doing some commercials, was Law & Order SVU, as any actor in New York kind of
Me
does.
too.
Yep. It's kind of your staple if you've been in New York that you do Law & Order SVU. And then I moved to California and was on Days of Our Lives, and that was a wild journey. I was a pregnant teen, and I learned so much. I mean, a soap opera is really like actors boot camp. You were filming so many pages in a day. It is so fast-paced. So then when I went from that to basically anything else, I felt like I was just like so prepared to take on, especially like multicam sitcoms, which are still just my absolute favorite. I love the genre. I love the live audience feedback. I love all of it.
Oh my gosh. So were your parents pageant people parents?
My mom was a pageant queen. My sister was a pageant queen. It's a South Mississippi thing, especially back then. And it was fun. I mean, back then you could win a lot of money. I don't know what it's like now.
Any musician who's touring out there, we know pageants exist. because we stay at hotels or motels and we wonder, what are all these little kids running around dressed as if they're 55 years old?
And the smell of hairspray everywhere.
And the smell of hairspray. You have parents that are overbearing. You seem very well adjusted.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I have the best mom in the world who, even throughout all of the things that I've done, being a child actor, being a pageant queen, like she definitely was still just my mom. And I think that's a huge reason why I am the way I am now, and I'm very lucky for that. Go mom.
That's kind of how I met you. I thought, you have such poise. You know who you are. You don't seem like a chaser in any way, shape, or form. We all chase at some point in our lives, and we chase all the time. It's just a natural part of being a human being. But the fact that you were raised in such a comfortable way that you could be yourself, because then you were whisked to New York. So what was that like to be whisked? How old were you when you were picked out of the...
I mean, I was very, very young. I was probably 6-ish, I would say. I loved it. Coming from a very small town and being able to be in New York, it was obviously a huge culture shock.
Yeah.
But I loved it. The self-expression that I felt like I got from being in the East Village and being around drag queens, like Libs Cafe, that was my favorite place to go. I have photos of me being held by drag queens while they were performing, which is like not something I would have necessarily been exposed to in my small town. So it was very cool for me. And I think all the lives that I have lived and all the places I've been it's just been so cool to be able to be, I don't know, immersed in so many different types of cultures and meet so many types of people. Being in the entertainment industry, as you know, you meet the coolest people with... Everybody has a different background story. None of us come from like the same place. It's like this melting pot of people that is just so beautiful.
Yeah. It's funny you say the East Village. That was my landing spot. I grew up in Queens, New York. Okay. And the minute I could get out of there, I was like, I got to move to what we call the city. If you live in the boroughs or New Jersey, we're going to the city. I worked at the bagel store in Queens, New York, and it was further out in Queens, not Astoria, which is closer to the city. And I remembered working at the bagel store, and all of a sudden, these real freaky people were coming in for a couple of days, and I'm like, they have tattoos, they're piercings, they're just different color hair, and they're just so weird and cool. I'm like, where are you guys from? Because you don't look like anybody that's from Fresh Meadows, Queens at the time. And they said, we're with the circus. And I thought, what is this? And it was the Big Apple Circus that was performing every year at Cunningham Park, which is right down the street from where I'm from. So after work, I went and hung out with circus people. And I thought, this is what I want to do. They're all freaks, and I love every single one of them. Fast forward a few years later, I moved to the East Village. They're all there.
Yep.
They're all there. They're not freaks at all. These are just the regular people in the city. And it was such an enlightening force for me because I learned that I just belonged in a place that everybody belonged and everybody existed. So how long were you in New York and what were you working on when you were there?
I was doing mostly commercials and print jobs there. And then after my episode of Law & Order, I felt like there was a shift of episodics and pilots and everything that were moving to LA. It was a bigger market. I wanted to get more into TV. I was trying to do Broadway, but I was also an extremely shy kid, which is people always find shocking when they meet me now because I will literally talk to anybody about anything. But I was extremely shy, and it was one of the reasons why my mom really wanted to just see what could happen, like the acting classes and all of that stuff to see if it could bring me out of my shell, because I was the kid that if you tried to talk to me, I was hiding behind my mom's leg. I was not making eye contact. Broadway was a little hard for me. I do come from like a dance background, and I wanted to sing and I wanted to all the things, but that level of projecting was a little difficult for me. I got close a couple times, but I wanted to move more towards TV. We moved to LA, which again was another culture shock.
Yeah.
LA is so different, but it was beautiful. I mean, I lived in LA most of my life.
Wow. So when you were auditioning in New York, because I did the same thing. So music, and I loved acting, and I would go and I did a few commercials. I was on Law & Order, SVU, I think, and a friend of mine recently sent me a picture. She was watching a rerun. She's like, is this you? And I was juror number like 7. It wasn't even my clothes or something. They just put me in this suit that was way too big. And I'm just sitting there in the jury. And I'm like, yep, that's me. I did a few commercials, and then I went into more voiceover stuff. But I had an agent. You had an agent. Where did you live when you were in New York?
I lived all over. At that point, we were there for certain seasons, like episodic season, and I was still going back and forth from Mississippi to New York. So it was a lot of subletting apartments. And honestly, I was very young. I know that during the blackout, I lived like in Columbus Circle.
Which
in
blackout?
2003.
Oh, that's
I
the
was
different
there. The blackout in 2003, I was in Columbus Circle, and I remember that. And then I was in Brooklyn. I honestly don't really remember where, but I do have a lot of childhood photos of me in Brooklyn. We just bounced around all over. When I did Kevin Can Wait, I moved back to New York, but we filmed on Long Island, so I lived in Brooklyn and made the commute.
So was your mother and father with you on all of this journey, or just your mother?
Mostly just my mother.
Was she overbearing in any way? Did she protect you too much? What was it like?
She's a very sweet Southern mom. She could not be more supportive. That's a crazy thing for her to just whisk me away and see, if this was going to work out. And when we saw success in it, she stayed with me throughout all of it. She also didn't know what she was doing. So I think she deserves a lot more credit than she probably even gives herself for coming from also a very small town in Mississippi and helping navigate New York with a toddler basically, and auditions, and keeping everything organized and keeping me on the right path in school and everything. Well, she's the best.
Yeah. I mean, what about all the nefarious stuff, the terrible, the horrible stuff, the stories you hear? There's drugs and there's all kinds of things. I mean, you're a young, attractive girl, young woman, and you're in this business, which is insane and horrible. Did you come up face to face with any of the bad stuff?
Oh, for sure. I don't think that there is a way to be in that industry and not see it in one way or another and be faced with it in one way or another. But I feel like I was very lucky for the people that I had around me. And I truthfully shout out Melissa Joan Hart. I will sing her praises forever because she is one of the people who she went through exactly what I was going through at the time. She was a child actor. She had seen it all. Having her as a mentor, and she played my Aunt Mel. She truthfully is still like my aunt. Even I'm in my 30s and I still have to text Melissa sometimes and be like, hey, like I need advice. Yeah. So I really credit her for kind of explaining everything to me in a way that I felt like when I was exposed to it, I knew how to handle situations.
Good for you, because that's really hard. And then getting into the stage stuff, obviously, is tough, projecting and all. So what were you auditioning for? Because it's specific. You are a certain age, you're a certain type, you're a certain look. So what were the roles that you were close to getting on Broadway and musicals, I guess? Or were you singing too?
Gypsy. I remember Gypsy being one that kind of made sense a lot for me, especially pageant kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember getting pretty close to that, but not getting it, obviously.
Did you make friends back then in New York? Was there a community that you kind of like, oh, look at this. There are people that are just like me,
Yeah, we definitely, we also lived with a lot of these families too. So it was kind of like, you make these friends, we're all out there for the same season. New York is expensive. So, I got to kind of spend, I don't know, it was almost like I went to camp every summer, but I was living with my friends and their parents too. And a lot of them I'm still friends with to this day. A lot of us made the shift from New York to LA together. So we were there together to navigate it, and it was beautiful.
So what were the ages that you were in New York?
I think I moved to LA when I was like 12 or 13.
So you were young when you were in
it was
New
a
York.
whirlwind. So
were you in school at all? Like, what was that like?
I was homeschooled. I went to like a program. So it was like an at-home program. It was called Abeka. So it was out of actually Pensacola, Florida. It came on DVDs, and you would actually watch the classrooms, and then you would have homework and everything that the school did. I did that for a while. I was set schooled for most of it too, which is always interesting because I don't think a lot of people realize that, kids are still, we're in school even when we're working. So sometimes we're there before everybody else is because we have to get a certain amount of time of school in. And then when we're on our breaks, we go back to school.
Wow.
It was interesting for sure. It was a cool way to grow up. I remember we had to do a science experiment, and we had to go out, and this was while I was filming Melissa and Joey. We had to go out and collect leaves to look at them under a microscope. And I went out and collected leaves, and then I got back and realized that they were all fake because I was on a studio lot.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's so funny. The land of make-believe. You're like, I need leaves, and there they are.
Yeah, I'm just walking around collecting props from Desperate Housewives. Sorry.
Oh, that's hilarious. Were you ever affected, your performance? And they're like, Taylor, let's go again. You seem distracted. You're like, yeah, because I'm trying to work this math problem out. If I didn't have to do this, I'd be just fine.
Definitely. I think it's also just being a teenager in general, growing up, going through so many things, first loves, breakups, all of these things. I'm literally growing up, but still having this very different type of job. Like I've been working my entire life. So I think that I'm very glad that I had the people around me who could kind of understand what I was going through and be like, okay, you know, like she's still a teenager at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But then it also is, you have a responsibility. There's a lot of people that go into making a TV show.
My goodness.
It's a lot of money, so you have to show up and do your job. But luckily, I loved it. I mean, Melissa and Joey especially was just such a great time in my life that even as a teenager, I wanted to get to work early. When I graduated, I would come to work to hang out with my favorite crew members before we actually started our workday. These people were at my house on the weekends. We were such a family. It was amazing.
That's incredible. So you moved to LA, and that's another shock. You know, so, and by the way, are you getting paid during this whole time? I mean, I know you are, but you were really young in New York and then you moved to LA. So what's the pay like? They pay your mom and she just doles out a little, puts it away for you.
So we have like Coogan accounts. So before you're 18, there's this percentage of your money that goes into a special bank account for you. Those are in place to protect children from their parents being able to take their money.
Okay, so explain that to me.
It's Coogan bank account, and it is a percentage of every paycheck you get. It goes into that, and you cannot access it until you're 18.
Okay, so that's good.
Yeah, it's to protect child actors because obviously we've heard the horror stories.
Yeah, my brother was a child actor for a very short time. There was a show called Nine, the Broadway musical, and it had won the Tony. It won all the awards. And the next season was the touring company. My brother somehow managed to land a role. My father knew somebody that was a casting director. He came home one day, took a picture of my brother, sent it in. My brother went, and there were like 500 kids, and he got the understudy role to the main kid. And this was a tour. And my parents, I think they had my cousin go with my brother for a little while, but then somebody else for a little while. And all I know is that my brother was robbed, offered drugs. I mean, it was completely a 180 experience from what you experienced. I mean, my brother has some fond memories of like, he'll say, yeah, I remember when I ate sushi for the first time and I was, you know, in this beautiful place, you know, in San Francisco overlooking this and that. I'm like, when the hell were you there? I'm like, oh yeah. You were in a touring musical, you know, but the experience was like, it was pretty horrible. I mean, when we would find out, and I'm a kid at this point, I would just kind of understand a little bit that my dad and my mom were like, how could this happen? What's going on? You know, he wasn't lost or anything like that. We knew where he was, I think, because he had to be on, you know, on stage.
There was a schedule, yeah.
There was a schedule. But I mean, yeah, they were robbed. It was a very harrowing experience. So I'm so happy to hear that you're such a well-adjusted human being.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm also shocked that you still decided to get into the entertainment industry after that.
Of course. Yes. Why should he get the part? You know, I could handle this better. So you moved to LA. What about the people that are back home? What are they? They must be so proud, right? At this point, you go to LA, you're like, what, 12 years old, 13 years old. So what's that like? New York is so different from LA, and it's all so different from Mississippi.
Yeah, I mean, it was very cool. The weather, you can't beat it. It's like, what do you mean? Like, there's no humidity here. That's crazy. Yeah. You know, and I grew up close to Gulfport, so the beach is a big thing in my family, but California beaches are obviously a lot different. My family, they've always been super supportive and super proud of me. When I decided to kind of change career paths, I was honestly scared to tell people. We had gone through so much. We had moved so many places. We had done all these things. My mom had put in a lot of hard work into my career. And then I was like, I'm going to go save dogs now. Yeah. And she was like, yeah, no, that actually tracks. Go for it.
Such a support system. So when you're out in LA for how long now? This is the majority of your life.
Yeah, the majority of my life.
Wow. So what was it like auditioning there? Because I had a girlfriend in New York and she auditioned for things in New York and she loved Broadway and commercials and stuff. But her father was like one of these big time rollers with like a lot of money and he produced movies. And he was like, you got to go to LA. It's all in LA. You know, I'll help make you a star. Like he's saying this to his daughter. And it was weird. She went to LA. We broke up. And she went to LA and we caught up with each other. And the first audition she went to in LA, they just took one look at her and said, lose 20 pounds, see you soon. And that crushed her. So she was pretty much done before she started. Fast forward like a lifetime later, she is on the show Portlandia. She is successful in movies of all sorts. I just see her on Instagram and I go, way to go. She went away from the business for years. She retreated completely because it was devastating what this business can do to you, especially who has the kind of self-esteem to really just say, I'm okay the way I am. And that's part is just not for me. Thank you. I'll see you. As opposed to, oh my God, I didn't get this part because I'm terrible. I'm not talented. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not handsome enough. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. The shame of it all. So how did you wade the waters of LA? What was it like for you? Because it wasn't really great for my friend Dana, who's wildly successful now. So it worked out.
Yeah. Congrats, Dana, because that's amazing.
Yes.
I love Portlandia. It's tough. Like, I will say that a lot of the work that I did, especially on sitcoms and things like that, there's not that pressure really in that kind of genre, but it did keep me from other genres, especially like, I feel like movies and stuff, like there's always that pressure that's, even if it's unspoken, like you just know you're in the entertainment industry, you see it everywhere, especially when, tabloids and everything. The bullying has gotten a lot better somewhat in the public eye.
It's not to your face anymore.
Yeah,
right.
But it still exists. And I'm so glad that when I was coming up in a lot of this, social media was not what it is now. Like, I cannot imagine. When we used to have to do live tweeting on Twitter, we had people who were there monitoring everything to make sure that nobody was saying anything bad. But I mean, it's an unspoken pressure, and it's hard to grow up as a teenager and be a young woman and try to continue having that confidence and realize, like, you're going to get told no so many times. You know that it's not always your performance. You know that you can walk into a room and they're like, no, we don't like the way you look for this. And that hurts. When you're a teenager, that sucks. It's definitely very hard. And I think it's, something that in the back of my head, I'll probably always kind of struggle with, but I'm glad that now I work with animals that absolutely do not care.
Yeah. Did you have any formal training at all?
For acting?
Yes.
I went to tons of acting classes. Like I said, though, I think getting Days of Our Lives was kind of the biggest boot camp, even though like the acting of it, I kind of had to figure out, I had to go to acting classes, and I had an amazing acting coach that would help me with a lot of other things. But I think the technical stuff that you learn for doing shows like that, there's nothing better than actually just being on set at a young age and doing it.
Take us there, because I mean, wow, a soap opera. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And because I know it's a ton of work, so please, can you give us a flavor? Give us the taste.
I mean, you're doing pages and pages of dialogue. Like sometimes you're doing, I would say at the time we were trying to do an episode a day, right? Because it airs every day and you have to have those like the week before. It's a very grueling schedule. So you're doing an entire episode. If you're in every scene of an episode, you're doing 30 pages a day. And it's a lot to memorize, especially when you're in school. And I remember like there would be times that we would have our scripts like taped in this inside of like a kitchen cabinet. And we would just like open up the kitchen cabinet to grab a mug and then try to see like what our next line was. And for me, that was wild because I was a teen mom and I had to like give birth on screen. And Allison Sweeney had to kind of come into my dressing room and sit down, and her and my mom had to explain to me basically like what I would be doing during childbirth at like 13 years old. So that was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like covered in gelatin and, had all these cameramen and everybody just so close to me and was like, what am I doing? And it was just a whirlwind. I don't think soap actors get enough credit for how hard that is.
Yeah. Can you cry at will?
Yes.
That's amazing. And what about the memorization? See, that's what kept me from like pursuing further. I'm not the actor anyway, but I can't remember lyrics to songs that I wrote. Okay, let's just put it that way. I have a gig tomorrow night. We had a rehearsal yesterday and I'm the one messing up the lyrics. So I'm like, okay, well, how do you memorize all that?
I think just having to do it from such a young age, it became muscle memory. And it's kind of wild because I do have like the memory of a goldfish, unless it is something that I have to like read and recite.
Right.
It is just such a muscle memory for me now, and to be able to do it with like, staying on my mark, making sure I'm in my light, making sure I'm on camera. It's funny now, even as an adult, I find myself sometimes in situations where I'm still trying to find my light. Like if I'm standing in a room, I will move until I feel light on my face because it is just like a natural thing to do for me.
It's funny you say that because you came and initially sat where I'm sitting because it's a little bit more,
it's more lit.
There's
I know.
more lit here. So good on you. And I put you there. Less light. But this is audio only, so I figured it's okay.
It's fine.
That's funny. What is one of the craziest things that you can like say happened on set that you're like, oh my goodness, like whether it's a mishap or just something just crazy?
My high school graduation was happening while I was filming Melissa and Joey. And we were filming an episode where I had to jump out of a window into a dumpster because my Aunt Mel had taken me, I think it was a Kings of Leon concert that she had taken me to, and I was underage. I was using a fake ID. I was about to get caught, so I had to jump out and land in a dumpster. I did that multiple times. Then on the last take, they were like, okay, we're going to need you to just hold in the dumpster. I was getting so annoyed. I was like, what is taking, this is multicam. Like, why am I in this dumpster for so long? They tell me I can come out. I come out of the dumpster. I have a podium, a cake. My entire family is there. I have a cap and gown. My cap is signed by my entire cast and crew. Wow. And Melissa Joan Hart gave my commencement speech, and they threw me a graduation right then and there on set.
Oh, that's fabulous.
I'm so lucky beyond words because I know a lot of people do not have that experience.
Yeah.
So.
Now, have you been in situations where you just like can't understand the person you're working with or somebody? I mean, everybody does. Work
Yes.
is work. I don't care what you're doing. And it's got to be hard because you have to always be on. You're on camera. What about life stuff? Like a heavy day, a hard time. How do you pull through?
Yeah, I mean, it's an escape, I guess. Like being able to, one of the things that we used to always say before our live show is like, let's go out there and give somebody a laugh who needs it, because that is kind of what sitcoms are, right? It's like you can have it on as background noise and laugh at it while you're folding laundry, whatever. Like it's also a great way to talk about hard topics and make it light. But when I was, right before I started Kevin Can Wait, my dad passed away. My dad committed suicide. And
so
I
sorry.
had to move to New York very shortly after. And I was at the time like, this is going to help me because I get to like throw myself into something else. Now looking back, I'm like, God, I was like just trying to distract myself. Like I wish I kind of would have had more time to, I guess, process things. But then at the same time, I do think it helped because I got to go to work and be around amazing people and have a support system. And I had to laugh every day, right? It was a part of my job.
Wow. So it was a real healing for you. And did everybody that you worked with, were they aware of your situation? That
Oh,
your
yeah.
father-
I mean, Kevin James sent me so many pounds of lasagna to my family after my dad passed away, and all of production sent us so much food. I mean, that's New Yorkers for you right there, right?
Kevin James sending lasagna. He's my favorite person ever.
Yeah. You know, everybody knew, and I think they handled it in such a way of like, they were aware of it, but once I got there and they knew that I wanted to start my job, they let me do that.
That's great. Wow.
They let me just work.
Wow. My goodness. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Yeah. And folks out there, if ever you are in pain or need help, there is help. You're
Yes,
not alone.
definitely.
988 the hotline. Just know that you're not alone and there's always somebody to talk to.
Yeah. We want you here.
We want you here. Exactly. So Kevin James, he's from Queens, right? Is he originally from Queens?
Queen, I believe
Right?
so.
Was
yeah.
he the king of Queens as well?
He was the king of Queens.
He was.
Yes.
I'm like the prince of Queens.
He might be from Long Island, though, now that I think about it.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. Somewhere.
Queens, where I'm from, I call it the gateway to Long Island. Were you pigeonholed? Because this is the kind of thing, we touched upon it earlier a little bit. So you're doing sitcoms and the comedy. Did you want to do something else? Did you figure, you know what, I want to move on from this eventually? Or are you like, you know what, I love my job. I'm in this sitcom, and then a sitcom will end, and then you'll go on another audition. What does your life look like in all that? How long were you on with Melissa Joan Hart? How long were you on that show?
5 years.
And when that ended, how long till the next gig?
I think maybe a year before like we filmed the pilot, but I had already known, it wasn't very long after I was off Melissa and Joey that I already knew that Kevin Can Wait was going to be a thing and I was going to be involved in it. And I had done some stuff in between that. Like I love sitcoms and I love like a B horror movie.
Right.
Like I love practical effects. I did Leprechaun Returns, filmed that in South Africa for a month, and almost everything we did was practical. We blew up a house. We filmed in the house for the month, and then on the last day of shooting, we blew it up. Wow. And it was crazy, and it was so cool, and it was just such a crazy experience.
Wow.
But being an actor, I mean, it's anybody who works in any kind of entertainment. It's so stressful because you don't always know when your next paycheck is going to come.
Yeah.
You know, you could be
Gig work.
at the 1 week, the top bill on the hottest show, and then something happens that gets canceled and you might not work again.
Yeah. Did you ever suffer from depression, sadness with it all?
Oh, for sure. Especially just the lows of everything and not really knowing, like after, you know, Kevin Can Wait ended, not really knowing what I was going to do. I was living in New York and I didn't know, like, was I going to go back to LA? And then COVID happened and that was wild. And then I moved to Nashville after COVID. And actually, when I moved to Nashville, I wasn't planning on leaving the industry. The industry had just changed so much that people were able to live other places. We weren't having in-person auditions anymore. So I moved to Nashville, was planning to like still be an actor, do all my self-tapes, do all that. And then I started volunteering at Nashville Humane and I just kind of went there instead.
So what year did you move to Nashville?
I moved here 2021.
And you were in New York at the time, and that was the end of Kevin?
I had ended Kevin. I did not end Kevin Can Wait. Kevin Can Wait ended. I had moved back to LA and was there for a little bit. I think I had done like maybe 1 or 2 movies in LA. Was still trying to audition there, but
Young Sheldon, that's not a
yeah,
movie,
I did
but
Young Sheldon, and I love Young Sheldon. I was able to do that when I was in Nashville. That was like the only thing I was doing. So I was flying back to LA because I was recurring. So anytime they called me and they were like, "Are you available?" I would fly to LA.
What was the catalyst to come to Nashville? Why Nashville?
I wanted to be closer to my mom. My mom lives in Mississippi now, and I had actually gone back to Mississippi for a little bit, and I had done with a friend, we did like a cross-country road trip. I knew some other friends that had moved to Nashville. We stayed here for about a weekend, and I was like, this to me makes sense. Like, it was between Nashville and New Orleans. I chose Nashville. I threw my dog in a couple like trash bags of clothes in my Jeep and drove here and stayed with some friends, and then kind of was trying to figure out what I was going to do. I have always been a very, very busy person. So moving here, especially after COVID, when everything was quiet, I was like, okay, I got to start doing something again. Like, I'm going stir crazy. And yeah, I started volunteering, and then
What made you want to stay in Nashville? How did you know this was home for you?
Nashville Humane.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Because you're a celebrity and you have a craft and you have a job that is thriving. It's just like anything else. There's ups and downs, but a shift that big. What was it like? Did you just think, I'll do this, I'll volunteer, and then I'll get back to what I'm doing? Because life has to get back to some form of normalcy. None of us knew what that would look like.
Yeah.
So what did it look and feel like for you?
Yeah, I mean, when I started volunteering there, it was just something I was doing while I was waiting to audition for other things. And then I started part-time on animal care at Nashville Humane. And at that time, I was kind of like, this still works because I have days off that I can do auditions. And, if something happens, like, they were always very supportive. Like, when I needed to go film Young Sheldon, they were like, yeah, like, girl, go.
Right.
And then I just kind of moved up and on from there. I became like the foster coordinator, and I have had a lot of different roles there. I'm now a community engagement coordinator and public relations, which is kind of the perfect mesh for me. I am leaving this entire career that I've had my whole life to work with animals and pick up dog poop every morning at 6:30.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to think I'm crazy. But I think anybody who knew me was like, no, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Wow. So that's part of it. People will think I'm X or Y. That's a big thing.
Holds a lot of people back from doing a lot of things.
It certainly does. I've been in music and entertainment my whole life, and my band is not touring because it's too expensive. I'm into radio. I'm into podcasting this show. I'm into community and building community. Do I have to let go of this whole other life that is the only thing I've ever known? And I get confused. Part of it is, what will people think? I'm a human being. What will people think? So what was that like? You say, well, I'm going to do this for a while and I don't have to tell anybody anything. Or did you care that much about what anybody thought?
I think it was disappointing people who had put so much time and effort into my career.
Right.
And I didn't know what they were going to think of me just being like, thanks for everything, but bye. I mean, I've had the same manager since I was a kid. And when I told her what happened, she was like, okay, like, if you see any cute dogs that you think could fit in my house, like, just let me know. I'll come get it. I was shocked, and it was all in my head, which is always what happens. I mean, yeah, there were certain people who definitely were like, what do you mean? Like, what do you do now? People from my industry could not understand.
Right.
But I fell in love with this place. I fell in love with behavior work with animals and their mission and the Nashville community, and being a part of a different community that cared so deeply about these animals and what we do and what our mission is. So it made it pretty easy. And my bosses and coworkers and everybody that has been at NHA, like, them being so supportive and understanding, and they've just been wonderful.
That's amazing. So what does a day look like for you at the Nashville Humane Association?
Well, it depends. Most of my weekends look like puppy parties. Yeah, so that is kind of one of my main things. I'm always in the media talking about our animals. I do weekly segments on Tuesdays on Today in Nashville. I'm always just trying to, bring some puppy love to somebody who needs it, or really get people engaged in new ways with our mission and what we do, and helping not just adopt out animals, but get people involved in other ways, because I know that not every single person can adopt.
So when you're on Today in Nashville, on Tuesdays on NBC, correct? With your experience, do you ever get on set and you're like, I got this? And you're like, let's go to camera one now. This lighting, no, let's try this. You can direct your own segment.
No, I could never beat Carol Sullivan. She is too good at her job.
She's amazing.
She's amazing.
I've been on that show.
I haven't been, I guess, relevant on television in a while, but I do still get the people who are like, God, you look so familiar. Where'd you go to high school?
Yeah. Does that feel good?
It's weird sometimes. Like, I'm always glad that people know who I am and have enjoyed the work that I've done. But sometimes when I'm there to talk about my current mission, I feel like it can be a little distracting.
Yeah. And people don't realize. I get the same thing. It's like, oh, you did this. I remember seeing your band play there. And it was sort of the height, let's say, of like my band's career and all that. That's so great. So what are you doing now? And I'm like, well, I'm here at the radio station and I'm still playing. I have a gig next week. Like, oh yeah, but you guys were so good. Like,
Yeah.
like
That's when it comes to the people who are like, what do you mean?
the disappointment in your, I'm like, what? I don't even know you and I feel terrible about myself. What does that say about me?
Right. Luckily, I usually have a puppy in my arm, which is a great distraction and just kind of,
So voted Nashville's best place to adopt. The Nashville Humane Association is such an important part of your work. Would you ever go back to acting?
I don't think full time, but I would love to. Like, that creative piece of me and that creative outlet is definitely still there.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of lucky that in my position at NHA, like, I am always Jordan, who is my work bestie and who runs all of our socials and is amazing. I'm always like, let's do a skit. Like, that would be fun, So I get to kind of get some of that out. But I definitely think that there's, maybe a time and a place if we could just get some sitcoms filming in Nashville and I could find a way to do both. Sure.
Yeah, why not? And so you get paid residuals and all for the stuff that you've been on. So that's very helpful, obviously, which is a wonderful thing. I get the same thing with music that I have that are in television shows.
Yeah.
People are always watching whatever episode of Law and Order that Electric Fever from my band is on. And I know this because quarterly I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't even believe I'm still getting paid for something that I did so many years ago.
Yeah.
And it really is a miracle.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there are definitely, the ones that are worth a penny. There's actually a bar in LA. I don't know if it's still there, but there was a bar in LA called the Residuals Bar. And if you brought in your residual check that was like a penny, they would put it up on the wall and give you a free shot.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So did you like living in LA?
I did. I was there for so long. Like, my friends and everything was there. And I loved it until I didn't, and I think that I just kind of outgrew it. I do miss the weather. I'm not going to lie. We don't have humidity or thunderstorms there, which is always nice. But I enjoy going back and getting like the small spurts, even though it's so different now.
What's so different?
Just the whole landscape. I feel like between the industry changing and COVID and everything, a lot of people aren't able to work there. A lot of things don't even film there anymore because it's too expensive. Yeah. And it's just not the same as it was. I guess the rose-colored glasses, I took them off eventually.
Well, isn't it something like we're sitting here talking about the way it was? New York was the greatest, the East Village where I lived was the greatest neighborhood, arguably, in the world. Yeah. And it was the 90s and the early 2000s that I was there.
A dream.
Yeah, but things will never be the same. Going to LA for me was just to work, and I loved it, and then I loved to leave because I didn't really care for the people as much. You're in your early 30s, and you're like, it's not the way it was. I mean, that takes a lot of wisdom. Would you say, I would say that you're a wise person. Would you consider yourself having some wisdom?
I would think so. I think a lot of the different things that I've been able to do in my life gives me a lot of different perspectives on things. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It is the people in LA. It is the culture there. It is so, it's so different and it's hard. And it's hard to be somewhere that I feel like when I'm not on a hit show anymore, I don't really have anything to offer people there anymore. And I feel that when I go back.
Wow. That's LA in a nutshell. I just remember that too, because I look a certain way. I mean, people think, oh my God, who are you? What does this guy have? And the reason why I cringe to this day is that I know I'm meeting somebody from LA in Nashville when it's the same thing. Like, I'll be out somewhere and somebody will just beeline to me and is very interested in me because of nothing other than how I look and carry myself. When I find out they're from LA, I go, oh, that tracks. Yep. I have nothing for you.
Yeah. When I moved here, I did not tell people that I was in LA before this. Yeah. Like, it was for a while, it was just like, no, I'm from Mississippi. I'm from Mississippi. Yeah. That's it. You don't need to know anymore. Right. That's where I was born. That's what we're going with.
So can you recall your accent?
Oh, man.
Your Mississippi accent?
It was so thick. I honestly, now that I'm older, kind of wish that I would have been able to keep more of it. It comes out sometimes. Like, if I've been on the phone with my mom.
Would you mind?
I don't think I can do it.
Really?
Oh my gosh, no. I don't want anybody being like, really, girl?
Really? Because, people say, hey, man, talk New York to me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're like, yeah, man, just like right that. There. And then I get mad because they're like, man, that's crazy, man. Y'all crazy up there. I'm like, why don't you shut the fuck up? And they're like, man. And then in my mind, I'm like, I can end this. I just have to say, go fuck your mother. And then I choose to not because I'm like, you know what?
Good for you.
What am I doing? I'm like, don't go all the way there. Just give enough to give the flavor of New York.
Yeah.
That's my Queens coming out, and I can turn it on when I want, and it does come out more so at times than others. Were you in a situation where you were acting as a younger person and you had the accent and they did not use your voice?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it was one of my first commercials. It was a Motrin commercial, and I was so excited to see it. And then when I watched it, it was like not my voice at all.
What was the line? Do you remember?
I do not remember. I was so young. But it also was funny because the woman who played my mom was from Sweden, I think.
Right.
So they also had to dub her voiceovers. Yeah, that has definitely happened to me. And it happened a lot more. I mean, it kind of ended as I got older because I just got so used to it. And I spent a lot of time. I worked really hard to get rid of my Southern accent. There are certain things, though, that I slip up, like saying "ol" instead of like "oil." Like I have to work on that a lot. Or like theater. Like there are certain words that I still like. I kind of have fallen back into. I'm like, oh man, "ol," really? Like that's the one I got.
Yeah. I used to do voiceover work. I mean, I still do every now and again, but like everything in this industry, it shifts, it dries up. AI is now involved and all that. But I always found that interesting because as somebody in that realm, when I see a commercial or something and I'm like, that's overdubbed, I can tell.
Oh my gosh, it drives me crazy. Like I can watch anything. It's hard for me to get immersed into television and anything because I like notice everything. Like continuity mistakes, I notice it. ADR drives me crazy. Bad ADR.
What's
I can't.
ADR?
ADR is like when you have to go in and dub over something.
Right.
So like that, I can't.
I should know that, right? I'm in the business. I'm just kidding. I know exactly what ADR is.
Yeah, like when you have to go in and do, and I get it. I've had to do it a lot, especially for any horror movies where you have to just go into a booth and scream for, 30 minutes because somebody's chasing you. Or like the heavy breathing, which is always just like super awkward. Like you click down and then you're just like, like that's always so bad. But I notice it in things and it drives me crazy.
So can you recall anything continuity-wise that is just so off?
Well, I mean, I think for everybody, it's the Starbucks cup in Game of Thrones.
Thank you very much, right?
Yeah, seeing that, I was like, man, things are fast-paced. I've been a part of it for so long, but I also feel like I was such a stickler for it that I was always the one who like would try to keep track of my own continuity.
Yeah.
Yeah, watching things now that I'm like, oh man, like your hair, it's on the wrong shoulder.
Right. What's the most fun you've had on set?
Oh, geez. I mean, all of Melissa and Joey, to be honest. It was just so much fun. We had, Sterling Knight, who played my fiance on the show, was one of my best friends growing up in real life. So like that was crazy. Kevin Fontaine too. I was in a love triangle on the show with two of my like best friends in real life,
right? Which
was so amazing and so funny. And just everybody who was a part of that crew. Like once I got older and I was 21 and I had my, I had my 21st birthday party actually on the CBS Radford lot. It was Sex and the City themed and it was on New York Street on the lot. And my entire crew helped light it and decorate it and do everything to throw me like the best 21st birthday ever. And I think that's probably the most fun that I've ever had.
So it was New York Street.
Yes, it was. We had a block party.
A block party.
It was amazing. There was probably like 200 people there, my entire crew, all of my friends. We had a dance floor. They did so much to make it so, so special for me.
That's so cool.
I know. It was crazy.
So when you were going out, let's say, and you're like, I need something to wear. Were you able to go to wardrobe? Like if you're home and you're like, I need an outfit for tonight. I'm just going to a party. You know what? I think I know the code. Would they let me in? Would you just go to wardrobe at the TV show and grab something to wear?
If I was being photographed somewhere, for sure. And I mean,
Yeah.
I obviously, like, I worked with a stylist and I, was able to borrow clothes, but Lennox dressed so much like me. Like, we really kind of became one.
Right.
So, yes, I did definitely steal some things from the wardrobe department.
Absolutely. I mean, I've done videos and stuff in the music industry where they're just like, they spend more money on the clothes than they did, than I even got paid.
Oh.
But I was so fortunate enough that they were like, you could keep the clothes. What was it like kissing your best friends, on set? You're in this love triangle with your best friends. What's it like? You're a star. What's it like kissing these people?
It's a weird thing. It's also, to make it even weirder, I was dating my co-star's younger brother in real life.
Right.
So that was really weird because
Right.
I would have to go to work and not only kiss one of my best friends, but my boyfriend's brother. And yeah, I mean, luckily we were so close that like it was just a joke, you know what I mean? And also like on sitcoms, it's not like we're heavy making out and it's a light peck here or there, hand holding, like it's PG basically.
There's no tongues on TV, right?
Not really, no.
Okay.
No, it's frowned upon for sure.
Does it ever happen? You go, oops.
Yes. When you're a teenager, like none of us knew what we were doing and how awkward that like we didn't know what we were doing, but we were being filmed for it to be broadcast to so many people. So cringy.
Especially if the guy in the corner that's like sweeping up, he's like, I could show you how to do this. Like, who let this guy in here? Get out of here. Show us how to kiss.
Having to get like notes from producers of like you're kissing when you're like a teenager. So weird.
So that's a great thing you're bringing up. What is it like to get notes? Because it's hard to not take these things personally, where you're like, this is insane, or yep, this was helpful. What was it like for you?
I mean, it's always kind of a toss, like collaboration and stuff. I obviously didn't have a lot of that when I was a teenager, but as I got older and I kind of found my voice and was able to talk about things more, I mean, they're always appreciated because we also can be doing something that just like doesn't look right on camera. It's nothing that you're doing wrong. It just looks weird on camera. There's weird angles. You got to try to figure out, like, you're sometimes in the weirdest positions doing the weirdest things so that it looks natural on camera.
Right.
And then for sitcoms, we have punch-ups during live tapings, right? So
what is that for them?
they are when, say, we have like a joke that we've been doing all week. So sitcoms those scripts get rewritten a lot. Not the foundation of the script, but a lot of the lines and stuff. You have a table read at the beginning of the week, you see what works, and then it changes. And then you have the directors run through, producers run through, and then you have a studio run through so that the studio, especially, we were ABC Family at the time to make sure that we were kind of staying in our lane. And then you get in front of the audience. And sometimes things that we have all found hilarious all week, crickets.
Wow. Yeah.
So we have to go in and change it and figure out what works and just kind of punch it up a bit until we can get that big laugh that we wanted.
Have you ever had the experience where you get the note, it's like, Taylor, we need it like this, and you just go, okay, and you do it the exact same way, and they go, that was wonderful. Because that's happened with me in music all the time, or voiceover work or jingle singing. We need it more like this. At first, I like melt into myself and just want to run home and think you suck. And then I go, okay. And I smile, yep. And I do the exact same thing because in my mind, I think I know what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of silly, right? You hired me. I didn't hire me, okay? Which is maybe why I'm not working in that business anymore. But I remember doing this a few times where I literally just smiled, say, because I was probably just scared to try something else, but I leaned into what I was doing. And they're like, that was phenomenal. Did that ever happen?
Not that I can think of. I think I was probably too scared and was just like, yeah, I'm going to do whatever you say. Sure.
Yeah. I remember doing a jingle, and it was for Reese's peanut butter cereal. And they were like, it's got to be more. And so I gave them more. And they're like, hey, whoa. This is a kid's cereal, This is Saturday morning, and it was part of this nutritious breakfast. And that's all I had to say, right? I'd already sung. By the way, what an industry. You'll appreciate this. I had sung my part, and in between takes, I spoke the other part, thinking if they hear this, maybe they'll like it. And if they like it, they'll hire me for the speaking, which is 2 paychecks, not just one. And it worked. Yep.
Wow.
I was in between takes, I was like, part of this nutritious breakfast. They're like, hey, can you stay? I was like, sure.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah. So I'd already sung my
That's
part.
like the dream.
Oh, totally. So there I was, and it was part of this nutritious breakfast. And they were like, no, give us more. I'm like, part of this nutritious breakfast. So I just stood there as quietly as I could, and I thought, how am I going to do this? I said, okay. I said, part of this nutritious breakfast, bitch. And I said, you could edit the bitch. And they go, that's it. Because my intention, where I landed, was so powerful. There was another one. It was like something, motherfucker. And that's what they used. And they just cut off the curse words.
Those are like tricks of the trade, though. Sometimes you just have to do something crazy, especially in voiceovers.
Yes.
People don't realize you're not just sitting behind a microphone completely still. You are still acting out everything because you need the intention behind it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what was it like seeing your face on the screen? You've been on the small screen. You've been on phones, flat screens, big screens. What's it like?
Wild. The first time, it was obviously very, very cool. And then I actually used to have friends over. We would have pizza nights and watch Melissa and Joey. I think we came on Wednesdays. Yeah. And all my friends would come over and we would watch it and then just hang out. And then I think as I got older, I got more self-conscious. So I kind of stopped. And now it's funny, when I watch myself when I was younger, just hearing my voice and how high it was and how just sweet and cute I was. And it's, I was not embarrassed by it by any means, but I definitely found it a little cringier, but now I'm just I think it's fun to be able to have such a record of kind of my life and my growth. You know what I mean? It's this crazy scrapbook that I have.
Yeah. I mean, your Wikipedia, your IMDb.
There's so much.
And you're the Nashville Humane Association, all rolled into one. If there was a role that would bring you back, I mean, what type of part would it be? I mean, it could just be anything you can make up, or maybe it's something you have in your pocket. What would it be?
I just think anything on a sitcom, a true multicam, film in front of a live audience, get that feedback. I loved it. I hope that genre never goes away because I feel like, especially now, I feel like that lightness is so needed.
Yeah. What's your favorite sitcom of all time?
Oh my goodness. I mean, Golden Girls is definitely up there. Reba. Oh, I loved Reba. I worked with a lot of people who were also on Reba, and that was always very cool for me.
And you're in Nashville. You're in the country music, capital of the universe. Have you ever met Reba?
No, I haven't.
Oh, we have to make that happen.
Please.
I'll do my best. Absolutely. Oh, this is so fantastic. All right, I have a few questions, a speed round.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
This is great. What fascinates you?
People.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What angers you?
People.
Nice. What brings you joy?
Animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
If you had a magic wand and you could fix something or change something to your liking, what would it be?
Animal welfare laws.
Please explain.
I would make them better and add more protection for our furry friends and expand resources to where they are needed so that people can keep their pets. And then if they can't, then they have somewhere safe to go, like Nashville Humane.
That's fantastic. Oh, my goodness. Now, the big difficult question. Taylor, toilet paper over or under?
Over.
Right on. Now, you are a sane human being, but you work with animals. So
I do.
You might say under because of the cats. That's what I've been told. Give us the commercial. Nashville Humane Association. What do we need to know? Because it's a very serious situation that we have. I have tons of cats in my neighborhood, and there's just more every day. I see dogs that are not cared for. I see people that are doing the best they can, and I see people that don't care and doing the worst that humanity can do. So please, this is your life. This is your job, your livelihood. Tell us a little bit about what it is we need to know about your work with the Nashville Humane Association.
I mean, community involvement is such a big thing. Animal welfare takes a village, and it takes a lot of us keeping your eyes and ears open and speaking up for the voiceless and helping with resources that people need. You know, I want to be able to keep pets in homes, and we can't do that without our community support. And we're so grateful for Nashville and the way that they always step up for us. But the need is always there. We have so many ways to get involved no matter what you want to do. And it is so rewarding and so worth it. I left a very cool entertainment industry job because I love it so much. So get involved.
You are smiling like a Christmas tree. Are you happy?
I am, yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, how do we find you if you want to be found, or how do we find what you do, your work?
NashvilleHumane.org or on Instagram at Nashville Humane. Mine is at Taylor Spreitler. It's pretty much just repost and, you know, maybe a little bit more behind the scenes of Nashville Humane. So if you're into cute animals, either follow me or NHA.
Absolutely. Well, my sweet dog Jazz is having his little testicles cut off tomorrow, removed, and it's all because of you, Taylor Spreitler. Thank you. You've educated.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, Jazz.
Thank you for the services, and thank you for what you do, and thank you for your time and your energy, and thank you for your bravery. You know, you've lived a complete life, and you decided that it was okay to follow a path uncertain and unknown. And for that, I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Taylor Spreitler, superstar actor and superstar Nashvilleian at the Nashville Humane Association. Thank you so much for being on the Just Keep Talking podcast. You're welcome. With me, Brother Love, because your story matters. Until next time, bye-bye.
You can personally support this show simply by clicking the tip link in the show notes. The Just Keep Talking podcast is now available on all podcast platforms. Please like, share, and subscribe. Visit our website at justkeeptalking.com, our YouTube channel at Just Keep Talking Podcast, and Instagram at The Just Keep Talking Podcast. We all just want to be seen, to be heard, and to belong. Thank you so much for supporting my mission and the Just Keep Talking Podcast with me, Brother Love, because your story matters.